The name of the poem is The Migration of Coconut Water. Why did I choose a poem with a title, The Migration of Coconut Water?
Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Feel free to like, subscribe, and come with me as I take you and see what's behind in my time tunnel. Carl Browne here with you. Welcome back, and this program I'd like to look at a production that was done recently. It was done in August as well. It was the University of Guyana's Alumni Association launch in the London chapter. They have actually started launching a number of chapters, I think in the United States, Canada. That's the University of Guyana coming together and bringing its own members and regrouping and actually seeing what they can do for the University of Guyana. Attending the launch here in the United Kingdom was Professor Paloma Mohammed Martin. She's Deputy Vice Chancellor, Philanthropy, Alumni and Civic Engagement. And just to bring you up to date and to let you see, since you've not been able to understand what happened at that launch, here it is in detail. A bit long, but have a bit of patience and get the gist of what really took place on that day.
Excellency, High Commissioner, Guyana High Commission in London, Mr. Hamley Case. We have distinguished poets, authors, doctors. We have received orders from the Queen in the room, and orders from other high offices around the world. Welcome this afternoon. I'd like to thank the Commonwealth Writers Office and Ms. Janet Steele, who is standing in the back there, for making available this wonderful space to us this afternoon. Please give her a round of applause. I'd like to thank Rod and Juanita Westmus for basically organizing all of this and making this happen. And there they are working hard as ever in the corner again. I'd like to thank Ms. Bonetta Victor, First Secretary in the High Commission, for, I believe, getting you all here this afternoon through her list and her hard work. Thank you, Bonetta, and of course, the High Commissioner for his graciousness as always. And to all those who are here, Keith, Gavin, Dr. Tunbridge, thank you. The Vice Chancellor could not be here because he is currently the highest ranking officer, only one at the university. Everybody else is on vacation and not here. And so he sent a video message, which we will play for you now. Hopefully it plays. We were having some problems getting it downloaded earlier today. It's short, but he would really have liked to have been here. This is the way he found to ensure that his voice was heard and that he was thanking you for being here.
From Georgetown, I regret very much I cannot be with you in person in London at this very historic event, the launch of our London chapter of the Alumni Association of our university. I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank all the persons and organizations that helped to make this event possible. Our High Commission in the United Kingdom, the Commonwealth Foundation, and to thank and applaud the indefatigable work of Deputy Vice Chancellor Pace, Professor Mohammed, and her team. This is an exciting time to be an alum of our university. It's an exciting time to be part of our Renaissance journey at our university, as we not only enable the university to be rebuilt to a glory that it once had many moons ago, but to build forward to a future that is exciting for David Land, Republic of Guyana. So not only do I want to thank you for being a proud product of our university, I want to thank you in future for what you will do to strengthen the platform on which you have been established and which I even have been established. And that is a platform of enabling the growth and development, the pursuit of other educational journeys by future students of our university. Part of the excitement of this time at our university is one in which we're preparing for a new Department of Petroleum and Geological Engineering. It's an excitement when we're preparing for a new Institute of Food and Nutrition Security. It's a time in which we're going to be launching 8 new degree programs: food science, psychology, civil engineering in Berbice, nursing in Berbice, among other things. And I think you certainly want to be part of that excitement, even if you cannot do it personally in our native land, but helping to build forward, exuding the pride of place, pride of institution, being part of this university, where we're building in a grand way the platform of higher education in Guyana. So I thank you for your engagement now and in the future. I ask you to bring all the Guyanese, even if they were not graduates of our university, to help us build this wonderful educational enterprise. Onward we go, upward we go. Have a wonderful program. Have a wonderful day.
I will crave your indulgence since we're starting a bit late, and I want to be respectful of the time granted to us in this hall, and to end around the time we agree to end. I will dispense with the long bios that we prepared for people and just introduce them to come up. And we will send around a list with the video and the bios attached later on. So if I may be allowed to do that, please. So the next person on the program is His Excellency Hamley Case, Guyana's High Commissioner to London. He is by no means a stranger to you all. I believe it's by his summons that you're here. So thank you.
Madam Chair, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Guyana High Commission and on my own behalf, and those of you who don't know me, I am Guyana's High Commissioner to the Port of St. James's, accredited to France, Iceland, Russia, Spain, Lithuania, Bosnia, Croatia, and a few other countries. I can't recall at this very moment in time. We can all agree that the University of Guyana has contributed to the success of many Guyanese, and there's a little bit of history there that I shall impart to you. I know Guyanese like to place people, and those of you who are Guyanese and who want to place me, my father was Guyana's first director, I should say first Guyanese director of education, appointed by Duncan Sands in 1953. The first Guyanese to hold that position. And in those days, the director of education was the final authority on education in Guyana. I think now there are several directors of education officers, I think they may be called. I like to get that in because when people hear my name is Frederick Case, they think I'm 112. But that's my father. I was Frederick, but Hamley as well. Frederick Hamley. So they called me by my middle name, Hamley, and I'm still called by that name. We can all agree that the University of Guyana has contributed to the success of many Guyanese and has laid the foundation of some of our leaders, distinguished international civil servants, some of our business people, all in spite of the many challenges the institution has faced over the years. As I'm sure you know, the University of Guyana is the premier university and learning institution in the country. And its importance is especially critical at this juncture in our development. It is important because it must now take on a much larger role and go beyond the traditional roles of research and teaching to a role of assisting in driving the development of our economy through collaborations, and I would like to think contortions, with other industries and other universities. I am especially thrilled at the latter because currently I am at the forefront of a possible collaboration between the University of Guyana and several universities in Aberdeen, where recently I was a guest of the Lord Provost. These universities include Robert Gordon, Harriet Watt, and the University of Aberdeen itself. All of these are well-known, internationally recognized universities, and very soon, if I have my way, they will have a very long-lasting relationship with the University of Guyana and with Guyana, particularly in the area of oil and gas studies. Universities have long been vital and powerful drivers of innovation and economic development. They must therefore be willing to break free from outmoded paradigms if they hope to continue achieving meaningful progress. We must also acknowledge the impact the University of Guyana has on our economy. With graduates from every ministry and agency, its contributions to national development are very significant. I noticed the university has been taking on topics that are important to Guyana's development with its STEAM and Turkana talks on such issues as reparations, hosting consultations and information sessions on the oil and gas sector, active diaspora engagement, and so on. These are all areas that need to be addressed, and conversations within our society and among its people are vital for good governance and transparency. Naturally, our diaspora could well assist in this regard. And this is what we're hoping you will do, those of you who are part of the Guyanese diaspora. There is general agreement that our diaspora possesses untapped potential. And I know that based on the people I meet almost on a daily basis who come to see me, who are very well established here and extremely successful in many different walks of life. The alumni groups being launched in Canada, here in the UK, and later in New York, must see themselves as important drivers of change and also the continued success of the University of Guyana. It is important because they are vital to building and strengthening UG's alumni community and also keeping us connected. It is also important because it provides a platform for increased awareness, participation, and academic involvement for both students and faculty members. This very launch is a testament to the level of commitment the University of Guyana is taking to reconnect with its graduates. And I wish to commend the university's administration for taking on this responsibility of connecting with alumni and encouraging them to reconnect with their academic origin. It took a long time to get this way, but we are finally here. As the pace and complexity of our society increases, we must acknowledge that there is need to realign the design and infrastructure of education and its systems with the needs of the people our education systems are intended to serve, so that it can equip the labor force with the necessary skills and competencies which are essential for the advancement of our nation. As you all know, universities are costly and difficult to run, and maintaining its role is considered critical and vital. While the University of Guyana might want to do more and take on a much larger role in our country's development, we must acknowledge that the resources are sometimes lacking to make the changes that are necessary. With unpaid student loans, rising economic and labor costs, some of these issues are hard to address. The alumni associations in various countries can help the university to address some of these challenges by helping to raise funds, contributing directly, or even advocating for scholarships for underprivileged children. My hope that we can help the university in any way possible. Joining the Alumni Association is a good way to start, so please do. The Guyana High Commission and I look forward to working with the University of Guyana and the Alumni Association over the coming years to enhance these relationships and to further the objectives of the Alumni Association. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Many people don't know, but he is an author and says, and I read this in preparing his bio, that if he had his brothers, he would retire as an author and have people pay him to write. So clearly, that speech is evidence of his great prowess as a writer. Thank you so much for your kind words and your comments. The next two people we will invite this afternoon, I have already acknowledged them, but we thought we'd ask them to say a few words because without them, really and truly, this event would have been impossible. Rod Westmus and Dr. Juanita Cox Westmus did most of the groundwork for this event because we did not have legs in Guyana. From Guyana here, and they were legs. Dr. Cox is considered the leading academic expert on Edgar Mittelhauser, and she and Rod have started the most wonderful series which we follow from Guyana from time to time, Guyana Speaks. They have been very instrumental in working both between Guyana here in England, especially in London, with their community work, with their generosity of spirit, and they give everything they have to keeping the name of Guyana alive wherever they are. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me the greatest pleasure to introduce my friends, great friends of the university, Rod and Juanita.
actually expecting to speak, but it's certainly an honour to speak in front of this audience and His Excellency Hamley Case. Rod and I lived in Guyana for 2 years, in 2013 through to 2015, and we were just so inspired by Guyana, and actually very sad that we had to, for financial reasons, to come back to the UK. But we were made very aware at the time that there were many extraordinary Guyanese across the world, in Guyana and across the diaspora, in Toronto, the US, in Canada here. And so we wanted to set up an organisation that kind of knitted the community back together again in London, but also created a conversation between London and the rest of the diaspora. And also just to make people aware how amazing the Guyanese are. I'm always surprised by how many extraordinary people we meet from Guyana. So between the two of us, we set up Guyana Speaks in 2017, and we've had many wonderful distinguished speakers at our events. They always happen on the last Sunday of every month, 2 till 5, at the Classic in Tooting Bec. So if there's anyone here who hasn't been before, please do come again. Please do join us. And our last event, just to give you a flavour of what we do, our last event was Emancipation and Beyond. It's great to see Grace Nichols here. She was invited as a speaker and a performer to read some poetry for us. We also had Lady Burnham, who did a talk on reparations. We had Arthur Torrington, CBE, who did a talk who did a sort of sweeping look at history between emancipation and the contribution of people here in the UK up into the Windrush era. And we also had Beryl Haynes, who did a talk about the village of Plaisance, which was one of the free villages that were formed in the post-emancipation period. But we do lots of other different sorts of things. So recently we also had a talk, I think it was First Oil in 2020, Are We Ready? So we're trying at the moment to do special events, so one-off events that look at particular issues in Guyana. So, and because of course the oil is a pressing issue at the moment, we invited Christopher Ram to do a talk as a sole speaker for us. So that was a really engaging event. But then we also do events that are just about entertainment. So at the beginning of this year we started with I think we had Mark Matthews, John Agard, Ken Corsby.
Ken was
Ken, so
from Canada.
Yeah.
No, New York.
He was in Canada.
But we use Skype a lot anyway.
But yeah, so one of the ways that we try to create discourse between London and Guyana is by Skyping people in. So anyone who's based in Guyana can be Skyped in, and we just project them onto the wall, and it's amazing how effective it is. And then the other thing that we try and do is also to just raise money for any issues that are particularly pressing in Guyana. So last year, because we lived in the Pomeroon, and we knew that a lot of the children there weren't able to get to school, they generally use Correals, we wanted to get them a boat. So with grateful thanks to the Guyana Speaks audience, we managed to raise enough money, and we got the children of Wakapawa a boat to take them to school. So we're going to try and do something again. So we'll try and do something again this year. So if anyone is around, I think it's on the 9th of December, is when we hold the Border Bazaar, and that's where we do our fundraising. And it's an event essentially that has anybody who either makes products, sell products, anyone who's Guyanese that has anything they want to sell. We basically recreate Border Market. Last year we had, what was the name of the gentleman? Who did the recording for us? So anyway, but we had a recording done at Border Market. Yeah, Francis Bailey, that was it. So he was in Guyana, and Tiffany's here. But he did a recording of the Border Bazaar for us. So it was really great. We had a lot of people feeling very nostalgic watching all the events around Border Bazaar. We had a guy who was cutting the coconuts. We had an ice shaving stall. It was just totally shave-wise. Yeah. So we recreated Guyana in the classic. And then I should just mention about Rod as well, because Rod has been and they've been doing some work on the Windrush generation, because it's often forgotten that a lot of Guyanese actually arrived here on the Windrush as well. I believe it's 44 people on the Windrush? Yeah. So Rod and Dr. Jab Webb have been interviewing many Guyanese of that generation, and will hopefully be producing a book that's provisionally titled The Windrush Generation, The Guyanese Branch. And I'm mentioning that because next month Rod is going to be doing a talk at the Guyana High Commission, where he interviews 3 people from that generation. I think it's on the 27th.
26.
I'm going to double check that. I know Rod says it's the 26th, but I just want to be sure. So it's a Thursday. I haven't got my glasses. Yeah, so it's Thursday the 27th of September at 6 o'clock. So he's basically going to be taking a lot of people down memory lane. And then also, we'd love to invite you to come to Guyana Speaks in September. And we're going to be, of course, it's Anglo-Indian Heritage Month in September, so we're going to be looking at language and culture on Sunday the 30th of September. So thank you so much for indulging me.
I want to mention one speaker. As Juanito said, we have various speakers throughout our Guyana Speaks series, but one in particular who is there every month, Auntie Joyce Trotman. I don't know if anyone knows Joyce. I'm sure you do. She's 90 years old, and she's come to every single one, but bar one. And she said to me, boy, it's the first time I could come to an event where I didn't got to buy a raffle ticket. I need some food. I want some education. So she is one of our biggest ambassadors. And if you ever get a chance, chat with Auntie Joy. She is one of my speakers at the conversation at the High Commission. But we've had some great ones throughout, and as Juanita says, she's much more eloquent than I am. We need your support. Thank you so much.
So the next item on the program is Keith Wade, our past distinguished artist in residence at the university, and he will be playing for you a Guyanese medley, right, of folk songs. Please give him a big round.
In fact, I'll be doing the folk songs with Gavin a little later. But I thought tonight, as there's such a wide cross-section of people here, young, old, and in between, the oldest person here, I'm going to do a national song called My Native Land.
We were very lucky to have Keith spend about a year with us in Guyana about a year ago as our first distinguished artist in residence. And there was so much that came out of that. I'm going to surprise him a little later on in the program with one of the things that came out that he doesn't know about yet. So the next item on the program is the part that we really enjoy when we do these events outside of Guyana, because it helps us to hear from our alum and from people in the room who show up some very, very incredible stories, and we get to learn about you, because this event is about you. There are a couple of formal recollections and messages that we are listed on the program, but after that we will ask anyone in the audience who wants to add to take the mic and do so. First, it gives me greatest pleasure to introduce Mr. John Agard, Guyanese author and poet, who I am told is going to delight us with, or challenge us, I don't know which, because he is going to give us one of his very new poems, and so I can't characterize what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be wonderful. John, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Colombo, for that very warm introduction, and Your Excellency, High Commissioner, for putting it very concisely that this occasion is a major step towards cementing connection with alumni across continents and the University of Guyana. And it's a great pleasure to be in this audience and to acknowledge the crucial work done by Guyana Speak, Juanita and Rod, two proactive Guyanese human beings. But in this audience, it's great to have some artists who have been forgotten maybe. I saw Ian Hall, and I flashed back to 1972 as a young reporter for the Chronicle, meeting him for the first time. Those of you who weren't born in 1972, if you check out that clip, when Ian is playing the organ, you will experience a sensation of calypso stomping feet and the baroque classical touches. And I hope that Ian will return to the organ. And of course, we've been treated to the poet of the flute, Keith Waite, with whom Grace Nichols, well-established poet, and myself have collaborated. I only have room for one poem, but it's not too short. It's a symphonic poem. Why I chose this poem for the occasion. The name of the poem is The Migration of Coconut Water. Why did I choose a poem with a title, The Migration of Coconut Water? I felt it apt because Rod and Juanita have a very strong and close relationship with coconut estates. But also, when Grace and I were in Guyana about 5 years ago, my good friend Gio Passard, who is more known perhaps for his Chanteur d'Alpuri connection, but he has a medical connection, and he reminded us that during the war, coconut water was used when there wasn't saline. It was, am I right, Gio? That coconut water was used as that drip. So it's beautiful to have you here, and I believe the poem, written in 5 parts, The Migration of Coconut Water. Wit, a riddle, begins the tale of a shell but no snail, of a husk but no car, an oval but no egg, milk giver but no cow, its own mini boat, its own transport, but still no sign of sail or oar. navigating continents to seed new shores, turning bona fide resident. Oh, Coco Nucifera, hallelujah, and again, hallelujah, to your cargo of nectar. One coconut is meat and drink, in the words of Marco Polo, centuries before Vita met Coco, promising 99% coconut water. Where that missing percent gone sounds like a trick question. But if you really must know, gone to pasteurization. Coconut water, you say? Or did you mean that liquid sunshine libating the valley of a throat? Leave fancy sip sip through fancy straw to them sun-bruised tourists off cruise ship. Man, tell me, were you born? Don't tell me you never heard of the one-to-one communion with the jelly blessed, as in mouth to mouth, live and direct. It's juice straight from heaven, yes, the best partner to tango with a rum on the dance floor of the top. And all the while down memory lane, Harry Belafonte coconut water from that 50s hit, still calling out. Every day you can hear her shout, get your coconut water, man is good for your daughter. Cocoa got a lot of iron, you're strong like a lion. But let me hear you all together, people, line by line. Get your coconut water. Let me hear you, man, your Guyana people, let me hear you more of that. Get your coconut water. Man is good for your daughter. Cocoa got a lot of iron, make you strong like a lion. No, it's not in my place to question whether this is myth or misconception, but according to my grandmother, coconut water can lead to conception. Coconut water, Mother Nature invigorator. From what I hear, the closer to the equator, they say the sweeter the nut, but no need to get too technical. Now, I live to see the day coconut water partially concentrate, standing up, carton straight with sell by day. Like coconut water come to colonize London metropolitan pipe, a singular addition to a plural nation for warding off hypertension. So I've been informed. A far transatlantic cry from that flaming bottle lamp eye, that backyard beacon for the staggering homebound. Not to mention a welcome oasis for them clutch up hand round waist late night lovey-dovey couples out to quench their thirst. Oh, that still flickering memory, that street corner sanctuary, presided over by that guardian vendor beside a handcart, cutlass, priestly poise, to slice open the head of paradise, coconut, water, yes, first thing in the morning, last thing at night, whether you're black or white. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. I don't know how he managed to leave out steel drums. Anyhow, Professor Jaipal Singh is an alumni of the University of Guyana Medical School. He sent a long tribute to be read this afternoon because he's enrolled in the conference. And I have taken the liberty of the chair to edit it severely. But again, like everything else, I will send it on for a copy if you are interested in reading it. He says, first I would like to thank Professor Browne Mohammed Martin for the invitation to help in launching the UK section. His Excellency, the High Commissioner, Mr. Frederick Hamley Case, the Vice Chancellor, fellow Guyanese, UG alumni, diaspora colleagues, and other attendees. Welcome to the launching of the United Kingdom London Alumni Association University of Guyana. It is both a pleasure and an honor for me, a Guyanese just like you, to assist on this auspicious occasion. It is true to say that the University of Guyana has helped all its 30,000 plus former students to become graduates and to become who they are now. Wiser persons compared to several years ago. We are more rational, we think more clearly, and we have seen and developed new paths in life in order to build our future careers, so that ourselves, our children and grandchildren can enjoy a better quality of life. Special thanks must go to all the staff at the University of Guyana over the years who helped us tirelessly and who have also given us a lot of guidance and academic and personal support during our studies, irrespective of personal sacrifices. Like most of you here today, I am a product of the Faculty of Health Sciences at the University of Guyana, and I'm very proud to be an MBBS or medical graduate of our nation. Our university has helped to make me what I am today, and what you are today, probably a better person, a citizen of Guyana and of the world. Personally, I strongly feel we must all give back something to UG. The University of Guyana is a good university. Like you all, many of us attended UG and then went abroad, where our degrees were recognized internationally, and where we outperformed many others. I used my degree to become a very senior academic. We must be proud of our university, our education, our qualifications, and indeed of our country. Always keep your chin in the air and your feet on the ground. UG has produced some of the best graduates in the world, and it's continuing to do the same because of personal sacrifice of many who remain in Guyana. So never let us forget our university when we make good in life. Please give back something. Be a part of the alumni. Keep in touch. Great universities survive and become great because of the financial and other contributions made by alumni, friends, and diaspora to their country. UG has made many of us what we are today. Many of us have neglected our beloved university. Remember the famous words of one USA president. Don't ask what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. The same goes for UG. Ask what you can do for your university. Professor Jaipal Singh, University of Central Lancashire. One of the wonderful things that we are discovering as we try to reconnect with our alumni is that we're finding that a number of our younger alumni are responding to the call. This is highly unusual in the literature on alumni associations because they tell you that mostly people who are much older tend to join alumni associations. But that's not what we're finding for the University of Guyana, and it's wonderful. When we reached out to the embassy or consulate here in London, we didn't recognize that the first secretary was in fact one of ours. And so it gives me great pleasure to introduce one of our young ones, one of the young ones whom we're very, very, very proud, Vanetta Victor, first secretary in the High Commission, to give her remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor to be here today, and more so to have been asked to share a few words at today's launch. Thank you for creating this opportunity to meet our classmates, and also those who have set the trend for our generation. The University of Guyana has helped many of us here to shape our future. Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. The University of Guyana is a powerful part of that world-changing arsenal. It has certainly been a part of the changes in my own life. I was among the second batch of students that graduated from the University of Guyana, Berbice campus. Growing up in a large family, the youngest of 10, I had this idea of what my life should look like. You know, the nice house, the car, vacations, etc. Those things that I meant a good life. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mandela words were my inspiration. Education was the only way I could achieve those things. I completed a diploma, a degree, a postgraduate diploma, all on student loans. I therefore owe a debt of gratitude to the University of Guyana for providing me with an enabling environment to help me along the path and also becoming the person I am today. Over the years, our young people left our shores to study in Canada, the USA, the UK, and elsewhere. Some of you are in this audience. They never returned. For many of us, it was not a choice we wanted to make. I remember finishing my degree, passing with distinction, and still couldn't get a job. I spent an entire year searching for a job and couldn't get one. This is very discouraging for a new graduate. I volunteered, I did activism, I even worked as a sales girl at a modern chemistry while having a degree. I should have left. I know many of you have pondered over this question. Why should I be part of the alumni? Well, I can't answer for anyone else, but I can answer for myself. I can describe two ways that being a LUG alumni means. First one, connections, or networking opportunities. Secondly, humility and inspirations. The connections are what we normally think of when we picture membership in an alumni association. You now have at least something in common with thousands who have come before. The connections that when you go to an event and you can strike up a conversation with total strangers and develop instant rapport over stories of some lecturer or sitting on what we called back then the catwalk or the UG runway and watch other students walk by as if it was a catwalk for a fashion magazine. Or the time when you couldn't even afford to buy a hot dog and Coke from Spicy Dish. Do not make the mistake of discounting these connections. They form a web, a network that can be both uplifting and incredibly useful. Wherever you are, there will be UG people there. These people will be inclined to welcome you, and they will introduce you to new friends. Trust me, I know this because it has been my experience moving here. Then you also have the bonds that already exist within this room. You know that feeling when you say, I am from the graduating class of 2015? For many of us, membership in the Alumni Association might translate to permanent membership in the class of 2015. You will have these people forever. The ones who are already your friends will remain so. Our shared experiences, which include the official university program, like leaving a politics class and thinking after, what on earth did he just say in there? Or that feeling when the announcer said, congratulations class of 2015. I really don't know if that's what they say, because I never attended my 3 graduations. More importantly, your shared experience of your own making. Whether you currently think of the people in this room as friends or not, your classmates know you quite well. They know about some of your great successes and failures. They know about that time you only had bus fare back home and couldn't get that hot dog and coke from Spice Dish. And the second one, humility. There is a tendency to remember old schools or old towns or old jobs as places through which we passed. And I think I passed through UG for 4 years doing my BSc, then 1 year doing my postgrad. But I'm starting to think that this idea of Veneter entering and exiting her surroundings is false. The truth is, the time I spent at UG was the time I spent becoming Veneter. I did more becoming Veneter in UG than I did the first 15 years of my life. The University of Guyana was the family that created me and molded me into the person I am today. We must therefore look back and acknowledge the trail that brought us to where we are, and how much of an influence the University of Guyana has contributed along that trail. It is therefore my fervent hope that we could all find a way to contribute to the development and growth of the University of Guyana. By joining the University of Guyana Alumni Association, you are joining a new, incomplete community that could be defined by your engagement, even as it helps to shape other personalities. We keep becoming yourself forever, but remember that an important part of that becoming happened at the University of Guyana. And make a personal commitment to help the institution that contributed to shape our individual self. I thank you.
So there's more than one crybaby in the room. But that was so moving, but so wonderfully true. And so for those people who remember not having money to buy the hot dogs and having money to buy sugar cake, I brought some sugar cake all the way from Guyana to remind you. Because we actually did that, some of us, back in the day. This next person who I'm going to invite to speak is from a different generation, from what people like to call the days when UG was UG, but UG is always UG, just evolving in context in which it's operating. And I actually wanted to scream and give her a big hug when she walked in the room, because she has been an idol of mine all my life. But I had to be dignified and say, hello, nice to meet you, would you like the program? It gives me absolute pleasure to introduce to you this afternoon prize-winning author, poet, UG alum, Ms. Grace Nichols.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. Thanks to Dr. Alumni and this young woman who spoke a little while ago for being so inspirational. I myself am a proud daughter of Guyana, and I'm very proud to be part of this inaugural meeting of the Guyana University Alumni Association. I myself did a 2-year diploma in communications at the University of Guyana. I graduated in 1976. I worked before that as a journalist at the Guyana Chronicle, and then at the GIS, the Government Information Services, for about 3 years. I'd like to pay a brief tribute to Juanita Cox and Rod Westmas for being like two Guyana luminaries. Well, you're an honorary Guyanese, you know what I mean? And for having these very inspirational Guyana Speaks events. I think they're held at the end of each month, and it's been going for the last few years. So I'd like to congratulate them on that because it's making an important connection between Guyana and the Guyanese diaspora here and the wider diaspora, in fact. I'd just like to read two sonnets, short poems. I was home last year in Guyana. I have a brother, Dennis Nichols. He's a journalist and he writes the Kaitour News under the heading Countryman. So he writes all these articles. And I have a sister still in Guyana, retired after working at the Georgetown Hospital for a long time. So I spent a few weeks in Guyana and wrote a number of sonnets inspired by Guyana. But I'll just read two to you. The first one is called simply Demerara. Growing up in Guyana, we did the usual things, making fudge and sugar cake every day. So in England, my friends usually kind of chide me a bit for still having to have a bit of brown sugar in my tea or coffee. I can't seem to give it up. And this poem is about that. I've given up trying to give you up, Demerara sugar. Not that I've ever tried. Adding you by instinct into my every cup. Friends admonish me gently as they sip their own unsweetened brew, ironically tucking into cakes and puddings far beyond me and you. I say, I've paid too high a price. I've paid too high a price to give you up. And just a heaped teaspoon of you is strong enough. I know your cost in tears, brown sugar, the flowing sweat of each crystal grain. You who are both water stand up and water lay down. You whose shadow still haunts the sun, turning me inwards to my Demerara days. Your cane talk, sweetness, in the night, remembered ear. And the second one, the last one, is a more light-hearted one in a way. I call it Spiel. And I was walking around Georgetown with my brother, whose name is Dennis, when this guy came up to us. My brother couldn't remember him, but he was acting as though he was a friend, a long-lost friend. And I called the poem Spiel in praise of the man who my brother Dennis couldn't quite remember, who approached him on the streets of Georgetown for a small piece. And this is his story. This is what he, well, I tried to summarize what he said in a way. Spiel. Wapnin dear, you still here? All this time I swear you gone, Uncle Sam. Boy, this plays hard. Is everybody catching ass? You think it's a little walk I walk in this place? A cut cane, a chase cocktail, a fetch paddy bag, sugar bag, all kind of bag, down from Froston's wall. I go down in the manhole for the water world. And now they're back like it's acting up. But boy, I remember you riding shine in your white shirt and your Queen's College tie. You was always bright. It's how much O level you did get again? 5? Well, what then, man? I hate to ask, but a really dear. You're not a small piece. $1 US to spare. You can't make that too? Thanks, man. I'm glad bad I see you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So, this afternoon, as like many of the events like this, we have some unexpected things happening. And early this year, we met a wonderful woman, Guyanese professor, who is a geologist, and whose husband is a petroleum engineer. She came to the big conference, the first conference in oil and gas that we had in February, and she brought a small box of books to Guyana. And a few weeks ago, I got a note from our librarian, Ms. Gwyneth George, who indicated to me that Dr. Radford was in London and had practically donated almost her entire library of petroleum, geology journals, books to Guyana. This woman and her husband drove all the way, I don't know where Suffolk is, but I guess it's a long way because they said they were driving for 2 hours, and brought some of these books this afternoon. And so I'd like to invite her to give a symbolic handing over of these books at this event and to say a few words. And the other, 25 boxes. So this is one here. And it's here because it's heavy, nobody can lift it, so we thought we'd leave it there. The other 25 boxes, we'll figure out how to get them to Guyana. Dr. Radford, would you like to?
Excellency, High Commissioner for Guyana, Professor Martin, ladies and gentlemen. I'm supposed to be retired, but it's very hard to give up my profession. And so I've retained my interest in the petroleum industry. And I was so pleased to hear about the magnificent discoveries offshore Guyana. So I looked around my house and found all these books and rocks sitting there, and I thought, well, here is a chance to use them again. So in February, I attended the conference and was most amazed to see the advances in technology. Gone are the days when we had to do everything by hand. We had to go out in the bush and make a map and collect the rocks and bring them home. Sometimes we had to cross rivers. Once I had to use a donkey from a little girl who was crossing a river to get across to the other side, and she helped me get across with my bag of rocks. So it seems all my life I've been carrying rocks around. Anyhow, I managed to pack up about 100 samples of rocks. Here is an example of what we had to bring. There are 4 more boxes in the car, which I hope the High Commission will relieve me of and somehow get it to the university. I am delighted to hear that they are planning to teach petroleum technology at the university, and I'm pleased to hear that the Scottish universities have offered to help with training, because this subject is no longer something you can do by hand. It's all computers, highly technical and very complex. So this is my little contribution. I'm sorry I'm not a poet, or a singer or a musician, though I did try to learn the flute one time, but I don't have that amount of strength to blow. So here we are. There's one of the boxes of rocks and some journals as well, which I'm presenting today to the university to kickstart their program of petroleum geology, geoscience, whatever you like to call it, and hope that some of the young people will come forward and study this subject, because the rate at which Exxon is discovering oil fields, you know, it looks like it's going to be a brand new petroleum heartland, as we call it in the industry. And we're really looking forward to the new developments in education. I've been accustomed to attend launches. In 1978, we launched an oceanography degree at the Open University, which I was part of. And in Trinidad, we launched petroleum geoscience degree as well, which I lectured on, and I donated a similar library and books and rocks and so on. And I hope some of the oil companies will come forward and pay for shipments. That's the way to do it, really. If you write to them and say, look, we've got a nice donation of material for degree courses, how about giving us a complimentary grant? And they do come up if it's something practical like this. So I'm only here for a short visit, and I wish to present this gift from my family. It's, as I said, it consists of rocks and books. The rocks were collected by my colleagues at Imperial College London, where I used to lecture way back in the 80s and 90s. And so they are really valuable specimens. I doubt you'll be able to get a similar collection. The universities of Aberdeen and the others in Scotland, of course, they are in the forefront now. But London University, where I studied for my PhD and taught, was very much in the foreground in the 70s and 80s and 90s when the North Sea was booming. We had a lot of geologists in the companies and things were looking very good. However, they moved up to Aberdeen, so London is not as lively as it used to be. However, here is a memento from London, and I hope to be of use to you, and thank you for inviting me. Thank
you very much. I'm delighted to accept on behalf of the university. I don't think we're going to try to lift this. Let me see. Oh no, we can lift it actually.
So I'm going to lift it just for the photograph. Prosperity. Thank you very much.
Water rock.
You want to see if there really are rocks in here. They are there. They're weighed and numbered. Everything is labeled. And labeled. So thank you very much. Thank you. I'd like to give you something on behalf of Fuji. This is a little token of appreciation for you on behalf of the University of Guyana.
And to acknowledge her husband as well, who drove her all the way down here from Suffolk. Thank you so much. As I walked in here this afternoon, Janet Steele, who manages this wonderful facility and who has been the tower of strength behind the project here at Marlborough House, said to me, I'd like to give you this book. And I said, is this for the University of Guyana's library? And she said, yes. And I said, would you please make a formal presentation so we can acknowledge it? And so, Janet, please come up and make the presentation.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say, I'd like to put me in a bit of context. I work for the Commonwealth Foundation and I run the Commonwealth Writers. I don't run this whole building. This building is run by the Commonwealth Secretariat, and the Commonwealth Foundation, which is the development wing of the Commonwealth, sort of sits on the side there. I like to call it the servants' quarters. So, but this room is really magnificent, and we're really, really happy that we can share it with you, because that is one thing that we can do. We can offer this room to friends and guests so that they can use it and enjoy it. So I'd really like to welcome you all here tonight. And just wanted to talk a little bit, very briefly, about our new anthology, because at Commonwealth Writers, we work predominantly with writers around the Commonwealth, but we also work with other creatives and artists. And we put together this anthology to mark the centenary of the abolition of indenture. And it's been edited by David Daberdeen, Maria Calladine, and Tina Ramnarine. So you may know some of those names. It's a wonderful collection of fiction, non-fiction and poetry from people who are the descendants of indenture from around the Commonwealth. and really, really proud about this anthology. And I'd just like to say that we're also looking for a publisher in the Caribbean, because we want to make sure that this book gets around the whole of the Commonwealth, all of the countries that took indentured labourers. So I'd like to present this to you, and I really hope that you and your students enjoy reading it, and I really hope that you'll all get a chance to read it at some point too. Thank you very much.
So this is a book on the University of Guyana, coffee table book. It's a history of the university in photographs. So we hope that you will display this somewhere proudly. Yes. So people coming to understand about a little bit about our university. And in here, and this is where Keith does not know. It is in here. Keith doesn't know about this, and you're going to get yours. But about a year ago, when Keith Wade came to Guyana, he did a wonderful series of workshops. He played music, and then we hid artists from the University of Guyana, student artists in a room, so they could hear the music, but they couldn't see him. And they produced some artwork from just listening to his music. And this is a collection of original cards that were created from that artwork. So you are one of the first people who's getting a copy of this. There are 12 cards in here, 2 copies of each, of 6 original designs by our students. And he's never seen the cards, so now I'm going to hear my ears from him. So this is, we're winding down, coming to the close to the end of the program. And I'd like to offer the microphone now to anyone, any alum, friend of the university, or anyone else who's here who would like to speak, to say anything briefly about their experience at UG, about anything they want to speak about. I see Keita Rose, the son of a former vice chancellor, hiding in the back. And I don't know that you're going to get away with this by hiding in the back, because I saw you already. And I see Tiffany. So would the two of you like to start off, or do I have to do my teacher thing and say, come and talk?
Hi everyone. I'm Tiffany Daniels. I am from Guyana, obviously. I graduated from the University of Guyana in 2010. I did my undergraduate in sociology. 4 years, that's how I know Dr. Muhammad actually. I think my 4 years at the University of Guyana helped me not just professionally, but in terms of the relationships, the friends that I've been able to build, the networking I've been able to do. And I think the UG has really given me a strong foundation upon which I was able to build my career up until now. So I used to work here for 2 years. I was actually recruited from Guyana as a young professional in 2015. So I've had the pleasure of meeting amazing people here, working for the Commonwealth, all 53 states. So I've been able to amplify the work that I was doing in Guyana for young people, working specifically with the youth division here. So I've had the pleasure of working with young people, governments. Imagine, I'm only 28, and I've had governments actually listening to me, telling me what to do. So it was a really amazing experience just being here. At the moment, I'm a Evening Scholar, pursuing a master's at University College London. And I actually bought my ticket back home yesterday, a one-way ticket. I still go home. But yeah, that's me in a bit of a nutshell. I'm just very passionate about Guyana, seeing Guyana move forward. And there are so many other young people like me. There are a lot of us that are here right now that are just looking for the opportunity to get back home and get work done. There's a lot that we can do. There's a lot that we can see and envision for Guyana, and none of us can really do it alone. So it doesn't matter your age, your color, your gender. I think whether you're here or not, I think all we need to do is really think about the Guyana that we want and work together to achieve it. So that's my gift to the
Famous Mr. Hall, right?
Yeah.
Professor Hall, if you please.
Professor Hall.
If you please.
Professor Hall.
I think I stand up and say just a few words. To say what a delightful evening it has been. And to see so many old friends smiling away, obviously feeling as joyous and glad as I am. I want to be more specific than making lovely remarks and saying how lovely it all is. Which it is, of course, but I must say a bit more than that with the microphone in my hand. And may I say how much I enjoyed. First of all, I didn't come. It was Hamley who phoned me up just this afternoon as going off to lunch to say I ought to turn up. But I said, look, I have nothing to do with the University of Guyana. I'm from Oxford, not to be snobbish or anything. It's a fact, which I and I said, but I will come. And I put my best bib and tucker on, as you can see. And I'm rather regretful. I should have worn a nice shirt jacket or something, because it's rather warm. Anyway, having got here late, I apologize, Chairman, that you would have seen you. You didn't get to see everybody from what was said. And so I missed the opening part of the occasion, except Hamlet's speech was very good, which he read instead of improvising. But anyway, so you have to do what you have to do on these occasions. Now, I really enjoyed my friend Keith with his flute. Keith and I first met in 1972 when I did the opening recital of the first ever Carifesta on the organ of St. George's Cathedral, which John mentioned. Yeah, he knew there. The place was absolutely packed, and it was a wonderful occasion. And Keith was then in the police band, I think, playing the trumpet. And then later on, in the 1970s, I met him near King's Cross. He'd just come over to be near the hall. It's my memory.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. And he told me he was doing music on and changed to woodwind, flute. Brilliant chap. In that he actually, I would think that my best girlfriend would say, well, now your wife is gone. I had the most wonderful wife. How I wish she'd here to meet you all. She's Australian now, so I'm a real commerce person. And she loved Guyana and Ghana. I spent a lot of time in Ghana with Kwame Nkrumah. I used to direct music, age 24. Not bad, okay. And then, of course, I loved Keith when he told me he was going to enter the profession. And he's done remarkably well. Now, no less do I love John and Grace. These are assorted people with whom I performed on a number of occasions. My mind goes back to 1980 in Browne, in Germany, where the first ever Caribbean festival was on. And I was invited to be one of the leading lights. I couldn't because the then High Commissioner of Guyana was Cedric Grant. And he kept me back here in order for me to do in the evening, to rent something to Clive Lloyd. So I could only spend a weekend, brilliant, but the awesome weekend that was. John was brilliant, and Grace nonetheless. I mean, these people are remarkable, they really are. And John was once subdued this evening, I thought, a bit more extroverted and so on. But it was brilliant. Can I have a copy of that, which I really used? I set it to music, and that was marvelous being here. I also see other friends who are too numerous to greet from the microphone, but of course I love you all. I'm a sort of lapsed Guyanese, rather, I had a really friend, Deborah Dawes, some people really heard. He was a brilliant player from Jamaica, not Australia, and when he introduced me, in Ghana. He said, you must meet my friend Ian Hall from Guyana. So he's rather deep type of life, you know. Which I think is rather fitting of the thing. Anyway, Madam Chairman, I say now, I know from experience when my time is up. I didn't really but before I go, I must say, Ron and Vanessa are marvelous, really. They've been doing wonderful work, and I do apologize I haven't been more zealous. But I will. I've crossed various problems. My wife has died, and my son is like that now. So I'm all there. I'm sort of orphan yet again. However, there's well, there's another lovely. Do you recognize him? He's big. Wonderful. Give him a round of applause. This is one thing, the whole thing would have collapsed. It's very good. Anyway, I've done my bit. I said to Hamley, I'd come and say something, and certainly have some food and drink. I can't imagine a Guyanese gathering where there's neither food nor drink. So I look forward to that, and not taking any more time. Thank you very much.
So there is a part of the program which is really I can't go back without doing this, in which we ask for volunteers to work on the interim committee of the Alumni Association. You can do this in two ways. You can either put your hand up, and we have a video camera, you see, call you, or you can drop us a note, or this lovely young lady who has been taking names in the back of the guest list, just indicate to her on your way out whether you are interested in serving or not. We are not asking anybody for money. We're asking people to just put themselves in service for now, in trying to get the organization up and running, finding like-minded friends and organizations, because we really don't know where many of our graduates are, and that's the big task that we have to start with. So we start in a different way from many other organizations, because we are fact-finding now. We're trying to find out people. Okay? So, do we have any brave people putting their hands up now? Okay. No pressure. Please feel free to put your name outside or drop us a line later on. Okay? We have a few presentations that I'd like to make now on behalf of the university. To those people who have been wonderful and who appeared in the program and supported us in having this wonderful event take place. I would like to be efficient in doing this, so I'll call the names, and so you know that you're expected to come up here and receive something, please. And so, Vanessa would be one, Rod and Bonita would be the other, Keith would be one, John Agard would be one, Grace would be another, Gavin would be the other person. So these people, please come up, and I will give you your token presentations on behalf of each of them to say thank you so much for what you've done. Usually I have my staff helping me. I have to learn in one man shows me, and I just put these things in. No, which is fine. Anita and Rod. Thank you very much. One picture, you're gonna get a picture just now. Check what's, it's not
And this is just beautiful stuff. Let me just show you. These are the designs that were produced from people listening to him play music. This is your favorite. See the flutes?
Yes. Oh.
See? These are all of the that there's something else in here as well. This one I wanted. The sale of these cards are going toward the Artist in Residence program to fund other artists in residence. So
excellent.
You've done something wonderful, right? Now, I think I have I thought you were taking photographs of it. Okay. Thank you very much. So the next program. Thank you very much. Who's going to come and give the vote of thanks? This is Dr. Mark Tunbridge, who I'm not supposed to say is British, but he teaches at the University of Guyana, and I want to say special thanks to him because I would not have arrived here. I have no sense of direction in big cities. I don't know how to use the underground very well, and I would have arrived here sometime tomorrow, I'm sure, had it not been for him navigating and doing a lot of heavy lifting. Mark teaches at the moment at the University of Guyana in the Faculty of Education and Humanities, and he will give the vote of thanks on behalf of the university.
Good evening, everyone. I guess you can tell right from my voice that I'm clearly British from my accent. I think of myself as, and people actually call me in Guyana, I'm honorary Guyanese. So here I am to give you further thanks, and it's an absolute pleasure and to be here and to be able to give this. So the university wishes to extend sincere gratitude to the Guyana High Commission in London, His Excellency the High Commissioner, Mr. Hanley Case, Miss Vanetta Victor and the staff of the High Commission, to Ambassador Michael Brotherson, Director of the Diaspora Unit of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Guyana, to Professor David Aberdeen, Janet Steele and the Commonwealth Foundation. Many thanks to Mr. Gavin Mendonca, Mr. Keith Waite, and Dr. Mark Tunbridge. I even get to thank myself. Not conceited at all. Professor Jayapal Singh, Miss Grace Nichols, Mr. Keith Eggard. We would also wish to thank all who took the floor to share their recollections this evening. Special thanks to Professor Ivor L. Griffith, the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Guyana, and to the following people in Guyana who have consistently laboured to make these events possible. The Deputy Vice-Chancellor of PACE, Professor Paloma Mohammed, and the staff of PACE, Miss Aficia Esbrand, Miss Travona Aziz, Miss Christina Chowgir, Miss Chemel Patrick, Miss Tara Smith, Miss Merlene Gopal, and the interns Shelley Wilson and Shamari Williams, Kiara Trotman and Kerry Hooper, also to Dr. Sally Radcliffe and Miss Nikita Raymond Cox. A very special heartfelt thank you to Mr. Rod Westness and Dr. Winnie Cox, chief organisers in London, whose selfless support this event would have been difficult to produce without them. It really would have. We're also especially grateful to our alumni and friends who have graced us with your presence in person and online. It's a very special day, thank you for being here and sharing with us. Thanks for